Hey everyone! Welcome back to the channel. Today, we're going to talk about some rare and valuable pennies. These small coins might look normal, but some are worth thousands of dollars. They could be hiding in your pocket or coin jar. Let's find out which pennies are worth big money. Let's talk about one of the most interesting pennies in American coin history, the 1964 D. Lincoln Memorial Cent. This coin was made at the Denver Mint, which is why it has a small letter, D, under the date on the front of the coin, right below the year 1964. That little D tells us where the coin was made. Now, here's something that might surprise you. In 1964, the Denver Mint made over 3.7 billion of these pennies. That's a massive amount. So you might be thinking, how can a coin that's so common be worth a lot of money? That's a great question. Even though billions of these pennies were made, only a very small number are worth big money. Why? It all comes down to a few important things: condition, rarity, and minting errors. First, let's talk about condition. When a coin is first made, it looks shiny and new. If a penny has been well taken care of and never used much, it might still look brand new today. These coins are called mint state coins. They haven't been scratched or worn down from use. Mint state coins are given a grade on a scale from 1 to 70. A coin that's close to perfect is graded MS67 or even higher. Now, a 1964 D penny that is graded MS67 red, which means it still has its original red shine and looks almost perfect, can be worth up to $7,900 to a coin collector. That's a huge amount for a single penny. But there's more. Some 1964 D pennies are worth even more because of minting errors. These are mistakes that happened at the mint when the coins were being made. Believe it or not, these mistakes can make a coin more valuable, not less. One example is a double strike or off-metal error. This happens when a penny gets struck over an older coin or on the wrong type of metal. These kinds of rare errors are extremely hard to find, but when they show up, collectors are willing to pay big bucks. In fact, some of these super rare error pennies from 1964 have sold for over $100,000. There are also smaller errors that still make a coin more valuable. For example, a coin might be missing some letters, have doubled images or words, or be slightly off-center. These aren't worth as much as the big error coins, but some can still sell for hundreds or even a few $1,000s. Now, most 1964 D pennies are not going to be worth much. If they're old, dirty, or scratched up, they might only be worth 1 cent. But if you find one that's in excellent condition, or better yet, one with a rare error, you could be holding something really special. Collectors love coins that are not just old, but also unique. That's why some of these 1964 D pennies have become so valuable. They're not just regular coins, they're coins with a story. So if you're going through your spare change or old coin jars, take a second look at any 1964 D pennies you find. You never know, you might have a small treasure in your hands. Let's move on to another amazing penny that could be worth big money, the 1966 Lincoln Memorial Cent with no mint mark. Now, first things first. Most people think that if a coin doesn't have a mint mark, it must be rare. That's not always true, but in some cases, like with this penny, it can make a difference. In 1966, pennies were made in Philadelphia and Denver. Usually, coins from Denver have a small letter, D, under the date, while coins from Philadelphia sometimes have no letter at all. But here's the twist: in 1966, the U.S. Mint decided not to put mint marks on any coins. That means both Philadelphia and Denver coins came out without any mint mark. So, what makes the 1966 no mint mark penny valuable? It's not just about the mint mark. It's also about how the coin looks, how it was made, and if it has any special features or errors. Most 1966 pennies are worth just 1 cent. Even a clean one might only be worth a few cents or a couple of dollars. But a very well-preserved 1966 penny, one that looks shiny and brand new, can be worth a lot more. If it's in mint state, like MS67 or higher, it could be worth hundreds or even thousands of dollars. One 1966 no Mintmark penny in perfect condition sold for as much as $11,500. That's not a joke. Someone really paid that much for a single penny. Why? Because that coin was in such amazing shape that it became very desirable to collectors. Another reason this coin is valuable is because of minting errors. Mistakes can happen when coins are being made. Sometimes the coin might get struck more than once, or it might get struck off-center. There can also be doubling of letters or numbers, which is called a double die. These errors make coins more interesting and much more rare. People love to collect coins that are unusual, especially if there's only a few like them out there. That's why coins with errors or in super high condition are worth more. So, if you ever come across a 1966 penny without a mint mark, take a close look at it. Is it shiny? Does it have sharp details? Does it look like it's brand new? Those are good signs. If it also has something unusual, like a double image, a missing letter, or something off-center, it might be one of the rare error coins collectors are searching for. It's also important to remember that these valuable coins are not common. Most 1966 pennies are worth face value, but that one special coin in excellent shape or with an error can be worth hundreds or even thousands of dollars. So next time you're looking through your pocket change or your old coin jar, don't ignore those old pennies. Especially if you find a 1966 penny with no mint mark, it might just be your lucky find. Now let's talk about the 1968 D. Lincoln Memorial penny, which is another penny that could be worth more than you might expect. This penny was made in Denver, which is why it has a little D mint mark just below the date on the front of the coin. That D stands for the Denver Mint, one of the places where U.S. coins are made. In 1968, the Denver Mint produced over 2.8 billion Lincoln pennies. That's a huge number. So, with so many made, why is this penny worth up to $2,300? Just like with other coins we've talked about, the value depends on a few things: condition, rarity, and any minting errors that make the coin stand out. Let's start with condition. Most of the 1968 D pennies you'll find in your change are pretty worn out. They've been used for many years and have scratches, dirt, and faded designs. These kinds of pennies are usually only worth their face value, just 1 cent. But when a 1968 D penny is in mint condition, meaning it looks almost brand new, it becomes much more valuable. A coin in mint state is one that hasn't been used in everyday spending. It's shiny, clean, and has very few marks or scratches. If it still has its bright red color from the original copper, that's even better. Coins in top condition are graded using a scale from 1 to 70. A 1968 D penny that is graded MS67 red is one of the best examples out there. That kind of coin can sell for as much as $2,300 at auction. It's very rare to find a coin from that year in such good shape, which is why collectors are willing to pay so much for it. Now let's talk about errors. Sometimes, when coins are being made at the mint, something goes wrong. These mistakes are called mint errors, and they can actually make a coin worth a lot more. Some common errors include things like off-center strikes, where the design is not in the right place. Doubled dies, where letters or numbers look doubled. Die cracks, small raised lines caused by damage to the stamping die. Wrong planchet errors, when the coin is made on the wrong type of metal. If a 1968 D penny has one of these errors and is still in good condition, it can be worth hundreds or even thousands of dollars, depending on how rare the error is. It's important to remember that not all 1968 D pennies will be valuable. Most are only worth 1 cent. But if you find one that's shiny, red, and looks almost perfect, or if it has a strange mark or an error, it could be worth checking out. You can even use a magnifying glass to look closely at the letters and numbers. If something looks off, it might be an error coin. And if you're not sure, you can always take it to a coin dealer or get it graded by a professional service. Let's talk about one of the most exciting pennies from the 1970s, the 1972 Lincoln Memorial penny with no mint mark. This is a coin that many collectors are looking for, and some versions of it have sold for up to $3,000. First, let's look at the basics. The 1972 penny features the image of Abraham Lincoln on the front, just like every other penny since 1909. On the back, it shows the Lincoln Memorial, which was used on U.S. pennies from 1959 to 2008. Now, if you look closely at a 1972 penny and you don't see a letter under the date, that means the coin was made in Philadelphia. The Philadelphia Mint didn't use a mint mark on pennies at that time, so these coins are known as no mint mark pennies. The U.S. Mint made over 2.9 billion pennies in Philadelphia in 1972. That's a huge number. So, why are some of these pennies worth thousands of dollars? It comes down to one important thing, a special minting error called a double die. In 1972, the mint accidentally created some pennies with a doubled image on the front. This means parts of the design were stamped twice by mistake. If you look closely at these coins, you can actually see that some of the letters and numbers look like they were printed 2 times. The most noticeable places where this doubling shows up are in the words, "In God We Trust, Liberty," and the date 1972. These types of errors are known as double die obverse coins, and they are very popular among collectors. The word obverse just means the front of the coin. Only a small number of 1972 pennies were made with this error. That's what makes them rare. If you have one of these error coins in good condition, it could be worth hundreds or even thousands of dollars. A high-grade 1972 double die penny, with a nice red color and little to no wear, has sold for around $3,000 or more. Even if your 1972 penny doesn't have the doubling error, it could still be worth more than 1 cent if it's in excellent condition. Pennies that are uncirculated, shiny, and have a strong red color can sell for $5 to $50, depending on their grade. If you're trying to find a 1972 double die penny, you'll need to look closely. It's a good idea to use a magnifying glass or a coin loupe. Focus on the word "liberty" and the phrase, "In God We Trust." If the letters look blurry, thick, or like there's a shadow behind them, you might have a double die. Another thing to look for is the date, especially the number 2 in 1972. If it looks doubled, that's another clue. Because this error is hard to spot with just your eyes, many people don't even know they have one of these rare coins. That's why it's always a good idea to check your old pennies carefully. Even though most 1972 pennies are not rare, the ones with this doubling mistake are highly valuable to collectors, and they're still out there waiting to be found. Now let's talk about a surprising penny from the 1970s, the 1977 Lincoln Memorial penny with no mint mark. This little coin might seem ordinary, but under the right conditions, it could be worth as much as $7,000. Just like other Lincoln Memorial pennies, the 1977 version shows Abraham Lincoln on the front and the Lincoln Memorial Building on the back. These coins were made by the Philadelphia Mint, which didn't put a mint mark on pennies at that time. So, if you look at your 1977 penny and see no letter under the date, don't worry, that's normal for coins made in Philadelphia. In 1977, the U.S. Mint produced over 4.4 billion pennies. So, as you can imagine, most of them are still only worth 1 cent. But there are a few special ones that collectors really want, and that's where things get interesting. The most valuable 1977 pennies are worth so much because of 2 key things, condition and errors. Let's talk about condition first. A penny that looks shiny and new is known as being in mint state condition. These are coins that were never used in everyday spending, so they don't have scratches, dirt, or wear. The best condition coins are graded using a scale from 1 to 70, with 70 being perfect. A 1977 penny that's graded MS67 red or higher is very rare. One like that has sold for as much as $7,000 at auction. The red part of the grade means the coin still has its original copper red color. Over time, copper pennies can turn brown if they're exposed to air and moisture. But if a coin has been stored properly and kept in perfect shape, its red shine makes it more valuable. Now let's talk about errors. Sometimes, mistakes happen at the mint when coins are being made. These mistakes can turn a regular penny into a very valuable one. One common type of error seen on 1977 pennies is called the BIE error. This happens when a small crack forms between the letters B and E in the word liberty on the front of the coin. This crack creates what looks like the letter I between the B and E, so it looks like the word BIE. It's a small mistake, but collectors love these kinds of errors, especially if they're easy to see. Another thing to look out for is double die errors, where letters or numbers appear to be stamped twice. There are also off-center strikes, where the coin design is not lined up correctly, or even die cracks, where a raised line appears on the coin due to damage in the minting machine. If your 1977 penny has any of these errors, and it's in great condition, it could be worth a lot more than 1 cent. Some error pennies have sold for hundreds or even thousands of dollars. So, if you come across a 1977 penny with no mint mark, take a good look at it. Use a magnifying glass if you have one. Check for unusual lines, shapes, or extra letters. And if it's still shiny and red, it might be a valuable piece that collectors are looking for. So, there you have it, 5 ultra-rare and valuable Lincoln Memorial pennies that could be worth big money. Remember, the value of a coin depends on its rarity, condition, and any unique features or errors it may have. If you have any of these pennies in your collection or come across them in your change, you might be holding on to a small fortune. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell for more coin collecting tips and insights. Happy collecting! If you're interested in learning more about coin collecting or want to see more rare coin showcases, check out our other videos here. Also, feel free to leave a comment below if you have any questions or if you'd like us to cover other rare coins in future videos. See you in the next video.